Hey everyone, welcome back to another Blender tutorial. Today we're going to be making this cool sort of hexagon ring animation that can be turned into a GIF because it is loopable. So to make this, we actually don't need the default cube or this camera, at least for now. So we're going to delete those and add a mesh torus and turn this major segments down to 6. And you can see it's a hexagon now. Minor segments also to 6. Just to make it hexagonal on both sides, both directions. And we're going to add a modifier array. Turn off relative offset. Alright, so now I'm going to add a empty, and I'll just do a sphere. And that object offset enable, and choose that empty. Now GY, and as you can see, it's been duplicated. And if we turn this count up to 15, which is how many I want, you can see it's making this chain. Now, if we want it to be rotated, as you can see, when we rotate this, it changes the whole row. So I'm going to rotate on X by 24. Actually, I want it to go the other direction. So I'm going to RX negative 24. There we go. And G shift X just to move it into place. There we go. Now we have this ring, this hexagonal ring. And we want to be able to move this, and as you can see, if we currently move it, it kind of breaks. Either of them, we move it, it breaks. And if we try and parent this empty to the ring, Control P object, it kind of glitches out, and that's not good. So I'm going to undo that, and we're going to actually, instead of parenting the empty to this, we're going to parent this to the empty. So go ahead and do that. Control P object, and as you can see, hey, look, no glitching. That's nice. It took me forever to figure out, too. Next up, we're going to add, and this is just for me, I'm going to add an empty circle, RZ90, scale it up a bunch, GZ, move it up, and we'll just put it right there, and parent this sphere to that circle. So now we can rotate this circle in any direction we want, and everything will be kept inside of it. To do this sort of trackball rotation I'm doing right now, I'm using R, and I'm clicking it twice. Alright, so, as you remember from the clip at the beginning of the video, there is more than one ring. So, how we're going to do that is basically add another array modifier. And we're going to do no relative offset and do object offset. I'm going to add an empty cube just so I can tell the difference between them, and I'm going to select that one as the object offset. And I'm going to move it up a little bit, rotate it, scale it down a bit, and if I turn up the count, you can see sort of where that comes from, and it looks pretty sweet, I will say. I'm going to put the origin of this outer empty right about in the middle of the cube, which will just make everything rotate around it. I'm going to move it up a little bit, actually. And yeah, there we go. So now we've got this cool rotational thing going on here. Looks pretty sweet, if you ask me. And we're going to animate this. I'm only going to do 100 frames. You can do as many as you want, though. And at every frame, I'm going to select this cube, push I, rotation, and this outer circle, I, rotation. And then jump forward a couple frames, rotate both of them to be in a nice position. And yeah, that looks cool. I, rotation. Make sure I got it on both of them, and go to the next frame. We're going to do the same thing. I, rotation, select the cube, rotate it, and I, rotation. And we're going to do it one more time. Rotate it, and rotate this one to a full position. I, rotation. Alright, so you may have noticed, if you play your animation, I said it with loop, and it doesn't. It just jumps. And how we're going to fix that is go over here to the dope sheet. Now this part is kind of weird how it treats everything. You would need to select this top animation here, Shift D, move it over to the very last frame of the animation, and do the same one for this one over here. As you can see, we now have an animation that should loop, as you can see. Now, you can obviously go ahead and mess with curves, whatever else you want. I'm going to just pause this really quick and go into the edit mode for this. Now, all of this is in the way, so I'm going to disable these modifiers in edit mode view. I'm going to go into edge select mode and push Alt to select this whole outer edge and Control B to bevel. And just ES, make a little inset there. And then along the top, I'm just going to select these top faces by going into face select mode, pushing Alt and clicking on that edge there. The same thing for the bottom. There we go. I'm going to go into individual origins here and scale it after, extrude individual, right click, make sure you're in individual origins and scale. Now we have these insets here, which we can, in theory, extrude individual and make those little insets. That's a little bit extreme for me. I'm just going to do it to there. All right. Now I'm going to select those once again. All of those little insets on the top and bottom, and I'm going to make them an emissive material just to look cool. So I'm going to go in the materials panel, add a new slot, click new, add another one, click new, and click assign. This one will be an emission, make it this cool blue color, something like that. Also set it to the viewport color. And for this material here, we'll have it be glossy. And have it be a sort of goldish color. And turn the roughness up. And there we go. Now if I go back into object mode, you can see it looks pretty sweet. I'll go to the world view, turn the background all the way to black, add a camera here, go 0 into the camera, go up here into view, lock camera to view. If that panel isn't there, just push N, lock camera to view. As you can see, everything is kind of out of focus. That's just I'm going to disable lock camera to view. That's just the viewport depth of field. I'm just going to show the limits and turn that focus distance up until it reaches the middle there. All right, now let's make this square. And you can make it square if you need to. I want to do 1024 by 1024. And as you can see, that is what our rendered animation will look like. I'm going to zoom the camera in a little just by turning this focal length up. As you can see, turning the focal length up. And go back into lock camera to view and just change the view until it's in a position that shows it better. Alright, that's it. Now you can render it out and it should look something like this. If the tutorial helped you out, you can go ahead and like and comment. And if you're feeling especially nice, you can go ahead and subscribe. And with that, I will see you guys later.